Hello and welcome to another edition of the Avid Screencast. My name is Christian Förster and this week we'll continue our series on audio. Last week we edited some audio segments into the timeline and created transitions, and this week we'll continue where we left off and have a look at Avid's audio mixer. Okay, now the volume of this is totally fine.
It's interesting because
But his volume is a little low. If you look at the peak meter of the audio tool here,
you can see sleeves that
he could, have a little more oomph. So let's check out the audio mixer. Let's go through it quickly. Check it out completely. There are a couple of buttons up here where you can change between the audio mixer, the EQ, and the audio suite. If you don't want to have them all open, you can quickly toggle back and forth between them. You can have the audio play loop. This will play the clip that you're on over and over again. You have a render effect icon, which doesn't make much sense in the audio mixer, but if you have an audio suite plugin effect, you can render it by using this little button here. Then you have the fast menu, which we'll get to later. This one toggles into a mini view of the audio mixer without much mixing going on. You can bypass everything you do here by clicking that button. You can have 8 or in the new version even 16 tracks displayed at once. And if you have only 4 tracks displayed, or fewer tracks than you have in your timeline, you can toggle through the groups. Now here we have tracks 4 to 8 in group 2 and tracks 1 through 4 in group 1. There's different audio mixing possibilities. There's the clip one that we have now. There's the automation gain that we'll cover next week. And there's the live mixer mode if you have external equipment that can use this. Then we have the solo and mute buttons that we know from the timeline. They're the same thing. We have the ability to turn tracks on or off for editing. It does the same thing as marking them here in the timeline. Then, of course, you can increase or lower the volume with the slider here. You can also type the numbers into your keyboard. So if I type a 9, it goes to plus 9 dB. If I type minus 15, it goes to minus 15 dB, and so on. If you type 0, it goes to 50, now to 0. Also, if you have changed the level and want to go back to 0, you can optional alt click and it goes back to 0. Here is the panning, basically the same thing. You can pan with your mouse, you can pan by pressing a number on your keyboard. So 35 is left 35 now. If I go to plus 35, it will be right 35. If I go to minus 50, it is left 50. And if I press 0, it's mid. Again, here, you change anything, want to go back to standard panning, Alt or Option click, and it will go back to the middle. If you want to change multiple tracks at a time, there's the ability to gang them. Press the little gang symbol, and now track 1 and 3 will be changed at the same time. So what I wanted to do is increase the level of the soundbite. So let's just say I want to increase it by 10 dB. I just type that in.
It's interesting because you can see sleeves that you've seen before in a new way.
And he's immediately a bit louder. It could actually be even louder. So let's go to 12 dB. And there we're at the end of the ability to increase the levels. If you want to increase it further, you have to use a different method, either mixing down and doing a new clip and increase the level again, or use the automation gain next week, or use an audio suite plugin that has more gain. Now let's say I want to add the other sound bites as well. I'll just quickly put them in there without thinking too much about it. And let's just say they have the same level problem, and they do. Now what I could do is go through all these clips and just change the level. That wouldn't be too much of a problem here. It's just 2 clips, right? But, you know, if you happen to notice that it's for a giant number of clips, you don't want to go through them one by one and changing them all by hand, do you? Especially if you know you've got this one, it's just right, it's plus 12 dB, and you want to apply the same change to all the other sound bites. And that's where the fast menu of the audio mixer comes into play. So let's check out this fast menu. It's got a couple of options. Set level on track from in. That's because I have an in point. If I remove the in point, it will say set level on track global. If I set an in and an out point, it's gonna say set level on track in to out. Now in this case it doesn't make much of a difference because we want to have the change applied to all the clips on audio track 1. But sometimes you just want to have it applied to a specific portion of your sequence, and then this in and out kind of thing is very, very handy. You have basically the same option for set pan on track, adjust pan and volumes on track. Now how's that different? We're gonna check this out in a couple of seconds. Remove the clip gain on tracks. This would move everything back to the defaults as it was before. Remove the clip pan on track, same thing, just with the panning. And remove pan and volumes on track in and out. So let's talk about the difference between those two here. Set level on track in to out will set the levels of all the other clips that are included in your in and out to the same level of the clip that you're on with your position marker right now. Now right now we're at the clip that is plus 12 dB, and we want to have that same 12 dB applied to the other sound clips. So let's say set level on track in to out. And immediately you can see the other clips are also at 12 dB and are nice and loud right now. That is great. Adjust pan and volumes on track in to out does something a little bit different. And to show you that, I'll just change the level of soundbite 2 to say minus 6.6, whatever, and the panning as well to left 33. Now let's get back to our first soundbite and say adjust pan and volumes on track in and out. What I can do now is have a gain adjustment from minus 6 dB to plus 6 dB. That's not too much of a leverage, but you know, at least a bit. So let's say minus 3 dB. We want to change it to minus 3 dB. And the pan adjustment from minus 200 to plus 200. Now minus 200 is of course only valid if you know, if it's completely panned to the right. Minus 200 would pan it completely to the left and the other way around. So let's say minus 20 and hit OK. So the track we're on is on plus 9 dB now. Of course, that's 12 minus 3 is 9. And on left 20, that's 0 minus 20 is left 20. The last track, same thing. But the center track that I've changed just before applying that is now at plus 3.6 and left 53. So it doesn't change all the clips that are in your in now to the same level or the same panning, but it adjusts it evenly. Again, to show you the difference, I'm going to the first clip and saying set level on track in and out and set pan on track in and out. And now all of them have the same level and panning. And that's exactly the panning that I said on the clip I was on. So that's basically the audio mixer for you. I hope you enjoyed this show. Do check out avidscreencast.com and subscribe to the show via iTunes or an RSS feed, or check out older shows. And if you have any comments or suggestions, write them to mail@avidscreencast.com, or just comment on the website or reply to me on Twitter, twitter.com/avidscreencast, or on Facebook, facebook.com/avidscreencast. If for some reason you'd like to know what kinds of things I do in my day job, check out editguy.de. Alright, again, thanks for watching. Have a great week. Goodbye.